to Flameworking 101.4, and today what we're going to do is we are going to build on two things we have previously talked about, which is the 4-dot pattern and covering a white bead in a transparent color. And today we're going to combine both of those techniques together, and we're going to add one more element to it, which is going to be a bubble, 4 bubbles on the dots. Let's get started with this demonstration, and we will see you afterwards. Okay, so the colors that I'm going to use today is, obviously we're going to use white to start out with, and then I have an ink blue and a transparent orange. So we're just going to start out like we did before in the very second episode after mandrels, is building up our basic small footprint bead here. And I'm just building it up a little at a time so it's big enough to where I can add that transparent on top, just like we learned in the last video. I'll give it a couple of wraps. This time I'm going to melt it down all the way. I might add a little bit more so I can cover up as much of that white as I can. So I'll add 2 wraps, kind of one on one side, one on the other, and then we will go ahead and heat that up. The glass always wants to go where the heat is the most, so that's why I like to heat the sides so it brings that transparent color down more to the side parts. Now here I'm going to add our 4-dot pattern, and I'm going to do this a little bit in real time so you can see it does take time to get enough glass to lay down that first dot. And then I'm going to do the dots on the 12 o'clock. So I add my dot, lift up in the flame, give it a little swirl, cast off, and then that dot will then face me, and then I will continue to do straight on top 12 o'clock. If your dots are not all the same size, it's okay. You can add just a little bit more, but it's harder to pull off glass than it is to put on glass. So now that I have my dots here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to flatten them down with a butter knife, just a little at a time. And this allows me to not only flatten my dots down, but it also lets me kind of push the dots into place so they're right where they need to be. There's a little bit of room, wiggle room basically, to do this. And now I'm just going to continue to flatten until they're almost as flat as the bead itself. Then I can heat it up very quickly without losing any of the pattern or distorting it. So on top of these white dots, we're going to add our transparent orange. And we're just going to do that the same way we added the first dots. Just make sure that you are adding it right on top of that white. And then again, I'm just flattening things down so it covers as much white as I can. And it, like I said, it allows me to kind of push that dot forwards or backwards, you know, in any direction I need to as I heat them up and push them and get them closer to the pattern of the bead. And then we have another reheat. Now is where we're going to start to add our indentations with the tungsten pick. And I very gently push in. I heat, and then I push in very gently. And you can see how, because I'm shaky, I have to, you know, get my hands in a stable position in order for me to accomplish these dots or these indentations. And now we're gonna put a clear dot on top be very careful not to melt in those indentations. And when you add the dots, make sure that that clear glass is just a little on the cool side. And it's just seconds really before you add it. But this is going to allow a little bit of air to be trapped inside. If you add the glass and it's really hot, it can fill in that little indentation, and then your dot will be very, very small. So that's the trick here, is to wait, let that glass cool down for a second, the clear glass, and then go ahead and add it. And now here we are just heating it up, and we should be looking good. Our bead should have our dots on it. The clear really helps to push the three-dimensionality that's going on inside. And we're done. Now I did do another bead in the opposite colors, which you will see later, but I didn't get the footage that I wanted to, so I apologize for that. But this one looks great. It's ready to go into the annealer. We'll get a better shot here in just a second, and you'll be able to see those really nice dots appear. And of course, when the glass is hot, the colors are not going to be the same as they are when they're cool. So after everything cools down, you'll really be able to see the vibrance of these colors here. And here's a great view of those bubbles inside of that bead. All right, well, I'm back. Sorry about the lighting in here in the evening, but I have to figure all that out. So let's check our beads. Ah, very nice. Like that. Those came out great. Let's take them off the mandrels real quick. Just like that. And just like that. All right, let's clean them up, show them off. Okay, so as always, I have my Dremel tool with a tapered diamond bit on the end and a small bowl of water. And as long as I keep the bead wet in the center, it's very easy to clean that bead release out. Just make sure that the Dremel tool itself does not go in the water, just the bit. The bead stays in the water.